Welcome back, everybody. I'm Bondre, and today I got something different. I think I have a idea that may or may not be much better than what I've been doing until now. And that is, up until this point, we've been focusing a lot on just doing game jams from the ground up and, talking about that and everything. But there is an issue with that, which you guys might have noticed over the many years of me doing this, which is when you're doing a game jam and you're doing no engine like I've been, like the first so many hours are literally just setting stuff up. And that's been a problem. And I feel like the experience will be a lot better if I also gotta make sure the experience be a lot better if I actually had some stuff already built, like the basics, like nothing crazy, really just like building the frameworks of stuff that allow me to not spend a ton of time just building a simple animation controller or a simple physics controller, because that's been taking like literally hours. And that, I mean, it's fun the first time you do it, but now it's getting to the point where it's like unreasonable. So again, I want to create a simple thing that I can just reference and I can just use it again and again. And I think it's a useful thing in general. So I'm hoping people will find some value in it as well. And plus, also, as you might have noticed from the title, I think one of the goals for this is to make some content out of this, because I feel like we're also in. I've been dealing with a content drought. Like I haven't really posted anything in quite a while, and that's on me. And this is my attempt at fixing this just a little bit. I'm going to quickly just go to all my accounts. Also, if you see me scratch my arm a lot, I caught like poison ivy or something, so it's getting kind of ridiculous. Okay. Let's pop out chat. Testing the audio really fast. Also, if you see me scratch my arm a lot, I caught like poison ivy or something. Yep, hear my voice. Where is my pop out chat? Pop out chat. There we go. Easy. Perfect. Okay. So, I think first order of business, which I was thinking about, because again, this was actually something I worked on the last game jam, and it took me a second, and it was like, oh, I really should have made this. I should have taken this from a previous game jam and like made it a generalized solution. And that's an animation controller. A very, very simple thing to use. So let's code this really fast, and maybe, I don't know, I'm still thinking about making some content. I think, again, it's a very useful tool. So let's find. Also, there's like this entire code block that I'm just copying and pasting now. That is how you get nice looking pixels. I'm gonna just literally gonna take my previous project that is honestly quite incomplete. So I'm gonna just delete everything that isn't really critical in it. Okay, let's see. So, okay, let me show you what I'm actually seeing on my screen so you guys aren't like, oh, he's staring off into space, not actually doing anything. let's get, is the screen I need? Yeah, there we go. So what I'm doing, also I'll move my face here or something. I'm also gonna move this chat. One thing I was actually thinking about doing today, but it just didn't end up happening, was I was thinking about live streaming my reaction to the Facebook Connect event. Honestly, in retrospect, probably for the best I didn't do that. I feel like right now I'm kind of fighting myself. I don't think it's a good idea for me to buy it. I think it's a good product. I just think it's not the exact right product, especially at a price point. So right now I'm just constantly fighting myself. Yeah, I'm gonna just strip this code down for its useful parts. Is there functional objects in? I don't usually write good code in JavaScript, so I'm now like thinking about like is there actually a a way for me to do this in a yeah, because the idea of objects, we can do like object type coding. No, but it's not exactly what I want it to be. I need a let me see. Actually, no, they have functions. Okay. Okay, so we want to make a object that has these properties. Just reviewing some of the code stuff from online, just making sure I have a good understanding of how it is. Okay, so let's, for right now, just create a object. I'm just gonna just use this format I found online. Obviously, a lot of this is completely not important. I think the important information is like stuff like X, Y position, probably like name. We do want to create the element and provide it with all of the little stuff that is needed in it. I'm not sure if I should have. Is there like an initialization thing like in Python? Part of me loves that I'm like creating a system for this. I'm creating an order to my madness, and part of me is like, I think that this is taking away from the fact that it was madness to begin with. It's in a way it's unfortunate. Okay, well, I'm gonna just add in the stuff that I think we need, and then we can like always modify it later. So name, sprite sheet. And it's gonna have like a something. I have a constructor for this. So constructor, how to set it up. I need to set the default values. What am I doing right now? Well, I'm actually, this is kind of not really a game per se. What I'm working on is I am trying to make my own game engine kind of deal. I'm trying to make something that essentially allows you to use JavaScript as a game engine, which it's gonna be interesting. So I'm making an animation controller now to create like an animation object. I'm trying to figure out how to set that up right now. Because for sure what you need is you need like a sprite sheet. Sprite sheet, sprite sheet. Name sprite sheet. The XY coordinates. Like an update position kind of deal. Yeah, so it's I wouldn't qualify it as a game engine per se. It's more so that what I'm working on is gonna be like components that are common in my projects that basically so I don't get to code again. So yeah, it's gonna make me code a lot faster, make games a lot faster. It's more so all the code that I've been like rewriting every single time I ever do anything. I'm just doing that in like a more structured format. So I can just be like, oh, I need a animated character. Done. No problem. Don't even gotta think about it. That kind of deal. It's complicated though because obviously every game jam has different needs. And part of me wants to make like a catch-all solution that's like perfect. But I might have to like chill with the perfectionism because it's better to have something than nothing. Okay, sprite sheet name. XY. Should be like Y pause. X pause. It is complicated because there are a lot of things in here. Because I want to have the ability to. Hello! Hello, son. Or. Shikome? However you'd like to say your name. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely like the long and short of it. It's harder. Yeah, no, I'm literally I'm kind of free-handing this right now. I'm not really paying close attention to the syntax. Shikome? Okay, I will call you that. Yeah, no, I'm part of me is like using Python syntax, my brain. And look at the constructor. Oh wow, I managed to crash W3 schools. Okay. So apparently what it wants me to do. Yeah, this is incorrect. probably just make like a init that has God, I heard rain. What am I doing? That's I don't like how JavaScript does this. Well, no. So, okay. Long story short, I'm actually not creating a. I'm not defining a function as a constant right here. I'm defining an object. I'm basically doing like object-based coding or like creating a player type element for game dev in JavaScript. Like I'm creating a boilerplate piece. So this is actually going to be like it's going to store information about it and have like functions that you can call on the object that do stuff. So it's a little bit different. Yeah, no. Right now, I'm just throwing stuff at the screen because I'm kind of walking into this with like little to no idea what I want to do. I just copied and pasted some code from W3 schools. I'm trying to make it figure out how I'm going to construct this in a way that makes any sense. I might just make I'm gonna want like init maybe init function, and then have like sprite sheet and a name or something. Name sprite sheet pause x pause y, or actually pause x is better than x pause y pause. I like that better. But yeah, no, the thing is, in the past, so long story short, I've done a lot of game dev in pure JavaScript where it's been literally like, oh, let me just build this all in this single stream. And I spent like 10 hours creating a very simple system. I'm basically trying to streamline that just a little bit. And I have some pretty, I consider them impressive games that I've made in pure JavaScript. Well, no, so the thing is, so here's how I'm picturing it. And again, I'm literally, this is just my current thought process. I'm very open to change my mind. The way I'm viewing it is you call the player or the animatable thing object, and you call it with init, and like well, you first call the object, create a new object, and then once you have that, then you can call init on it to set all of its base characteristics, and then you can basically call other functions to like do stuff like update its position or change the animation frame or something like that. That's kind of the way I'm viewing it right now. Init. I'm just calling initialize init. That's not a real term. I'm just I wrote it down, I think, or did I not write it down? Yeah, I wrote it down here. Init. No. But yeah, no, I think that's kind of like my current idea for this. And I also want to make something that I can basically give to other people, because I think that I don't think that JavaScript game development is a long-term solution, or it's like a great thing for me to introduce people to. But I think it's a great introduction to very low-level game design. So I kind of want to make this more publicly available, because actually, out of all the content I've ever produced, with one exception, the one that's done the best was a tutorial in JavaScript for basic game development. So I definitely want to create more stuff for people because there is clearly some demand for it. Well, yeah, no, it's okay. So right now here, let me do a minimum viable product for this so you can kind of see what I'm trying to do. Let me comment all of this out because this is that something I can write in here? I think I can do that. Yeah, this is. Let me just comment all of this out. So theoretically speaking, assuming I didn't comment out something important, I don't think I did. Okay. So what this should do right now, let me just do. I'm gonna put some regular text in here just to kind of explain my thought process. So when this gets run, I hate semicolons. When this gets run, that's honestly, I should change that about this. But when this gets run, so if I do, actually, you might be right. Oh. No, I think you're right because this only, I can't create multiple stuff like this. I think creating a function is going to be better here. Something like this. And then I can do the init here. Okay, this is probably more so what I should do. Is it, I forget, is this the way of doing it in JavaScript? I think it's the right way of doing it. Yeah, I think it's the right way of doing it. I don't think I need technically the const, but whatever. They do not have this context. Oh wait, are you saying you can't put? Okay, wait. I think I know what you mean. I gotta stop switching languages because I forget everything every time I switch. Do I need a call function? Probably do, right? Or am I completely tripping right now? I feel like 9 times out of 10 I forget stuff from when I switch from Python to JavaScript, and then when I switch back, I add too much stuff to Python. No excuses, but it's kind of a pain because I'm using very different languages in very different locations right now. I spent all morning working on a AI project that was Python, and all of yesterday working on a JavaScript website. Oh, yeah. Oh no, I was just saying. I was whining. I have nothing to stand on, but the what I was saying was I spent all of this morning working on Python and all of yesterday working in JavaScript. I feel like every time I switch, I need to like relearn half of it, and it's I have nowhere to complain, but it does mess with me a little bit. I'm not allowed to complain. Actually, not even this more yesterday. Well, yesterday I did code in Java for a little bit, but I was mainly trying to get Docker files working and trying to get something running on AWS, which I still haven't gotten done. I literally punted that to tomorrow because I was like, this is not happening today. I don't have the patience to do that. But yeah, no, I've no, it's I'm happy with the opportunities I was given, and I don't think I have any leg to stand on to complain. Um, I'm very lucky to nearly graduated in a master's program and to have or not even an internship, have a contractorship with a nice startup. So why do I code Notepad? Oh, it's just, when I code for myself, I hate myself. So I honestly, it's just really convenient for me. Honestly, what I've been coding when I code for work or when I code for school, I mainly code in GitHub Codespaces, which is like a VS Code clone. Um, I think to me, there's something visceral. Like I feel more connected. It's like drinking coffee without the sugar. Like it feels like you're doing something more, even if it hurts. Um, it also really forces me to think about stuff more than I would otherwise. That's also just me making excuses about it because in truth, I'm just being kind of stupid. Oh yeah, no. Trust me. I also it's great. Yeah, it's really hard. No, it's also really funny because in a way, I write in Notepad. This is like the tertiary reason, but I think it's still one I consider. It gets me views because like you just commented on it. That. I mean, not great views. I don't think it's views of adoration. I think it's kind of rage bait kind of stuff in a way. It's pure rage bait, but I mean it works. I've gotten a lot of people talking about it. It's really funny. But I mean, yeah, whatever works, I suppose. I've actually I'm gonna here. Let me show you what I've done, what I've written in Notepad, because I have a couple fun projects I actually managed to complete in Notepad. I should have like a little thing that says, "Look at what I've done in the past." That'd be kind of fun. I've actually made some absolutely atrocious projects in Notepad. I wonder if can I close out these and that's fine. Okay. Chrome was being annoying for a second, so I'm gonna just make a new window. Much better. So my personal favorite game I've produced in Notepad for a game jam actually. Also, my hair looks ridiculous. Let me put a hat on. I just I just took a shower, so it's like lying completely flat. There we go. But anyways, so for a game jam, what I did was I window capture, prepared properties. Oh, is it gonna really make me? Oh, wait, does that be good? Yeah, there we go. So I made this game jam a while ago. Which purely in HTML, and, well, I mean, obviously JavaScript embedded in HTML or whatever. But it I made this in Notepad. And there's mobile support. Where are you going? Maybe I can speedrun my own game. One more. I haven't actually beat my own game in a long time. I had a feeling. I should not have. I was being a little bit dumb. I can't believe I jump at that. That's actually like ridiculous. Wait, oh, I lost all my. This is the first game jam I also added music and stuff. Let me make sure chat isn't. Nothing's happening in chat. I think I'm just gonna enjoy my game for a second, actually, and then I'll get back to coding. Honestly, I made this game so much harder than it had to be. But in a way, it's also like very nostalgic for me. Some like minor details I would change now that I'm a little more seasoned. Let me just hindsight is 2020. Where are you going? Ay, ay, ay. Remember when I had to play test this for Game Jam, and like I did this like a million times and I died so often. Honestly, great memories. Man, the fact that I drew these little monster guys in like 10 seconds, always. I drew so many of these assets so quickly. It's so different from my initial concept too, because I really wanted this to be like a horror game initially, and obviously this is, well, I mean, it still likes to jump, but it's not like scary. I really shouldn't be just wasting my time playing this game, but I don't know. I know I have to beat this game. We're at the very end right now. As long as I don't do something stupid. I won! Woo! Anywho. All done in JavaScript. I don't think it's how are the walls made? Okay, the walls were all I made a sprite map or a sprite sheet for each type of wall segment in any orientation. So actually, do I have that file? I have it on GitHub somewhere. But yeah, so every single wall, I essentially took it from I designed the initial wall and then I kind of shrunk it for like three different depths on a sprite sheet, and also had it on a side. And then what I did was I created a layering of all but possible. So this actually I did badly. This is like a very inefficient way of doing it. What I did was actually create a layering of all possible locations a wall could be, in all the different types of walls that it could be, because there were three different kinds of wall segments. So I created a layering of all those things. I think in total there was like 5 times it was less than that because there was also like this weird thing I was doing with like some stuff wasn't really visible. But I think it was like 15 times 3, like 45 different layerings. And I just changed the transparency for what is the current section, and just like there was also a based on the position and the XY coordinates of the player, the wall segments were set on top of the mapping itself. So in the map that way I made the mapping of all the stuff was actually I created a third, a secondary application that took a drawn. So I drew on a grid. I created an application that I could draw on the grid where I wanted stuff to be, and it would output it as a list of coordinates, like in JavaScript. And I just copied and pasted the giant list of all the various walls and stuff into the application, and that's how it rendered it. So I made it very primitive, like very honestly, it's very reminiscent of like very ancient games. A little bit of like a artistic flair with like the three different wall segments and the different like pixel density stuff. But yeah, that's just in general how I made it. And I think did I the stuff like the hand, the knife, and the yeah. I will say I don't think no. I think I knew I was doing it wrong at the moment. The issue was it was a 3-day game jam, and I spent like the first 2 days. Like the first day was like creating a very rudimentary version of it, and the second day was like a lot of artwork, and the final day was like final sprint. I really wanted music. I really wanted to have like some kind of tutorial. Yeah, no, it was like I was so crunched for time that I was forced to make mistakes that I if I had another day I would have totally like been more like, oh, let's not have technical debt. But now I mean it just works, and the game is small enough to where it didn't really matter. But yeah, no, I definitely did stuff where it's like, maybe I shouldn't have done it that way. And then like the music, I forgot how I made the music. I think I just like quickly like created it like in this one online application. That was like last day. Like I spent like 2 hours getting all the sound effects and the and the and the feed moving and everything. No, that was it was very rushed, but it was like the first game jam I actually finished it. It was also a game jam where I had a lot of time to finish it. I think I had like maybe actually, was it a 3-day? It might have been a 7-day game jam. Wait, I can check that. Already closed out a bit, but it might have been a 7-day game jam. If it was, it might have been longer. I think I had more time than other game jams that I've done in the past to actually work on it, and in total had like 48 hours of true working time, and that made a huge difference. I was able to hit a lot more of my targets. That's also what brings me back to doing this, because now I'm kind of like, well, what if I don't have 20 hours to build a rendering thingamabobber for my game? I would rather have build an animation controller that's like kind of simple, that I can drag and drop and it'll just work. Plus, I just feel like, having something like this where it's like coded in extremely rudimentary things that I can just give people and be like, hey, you want to make a game? Here's a simple animation controller. Here's a simple character controller. Put them together and the bare bones of a game. I don't know. To me, that's something that I'd like to give to the community. It's like a nice, simple way to get into game development. But also, it's a stupid way to get into game development, because in truth, you really should be learning Godot and Unity and Unreal. If anything, I'm like, here is a really shiny way of doing it, but in truth, it's like, please go the tried and true path, because there's a reason why it's tried and true. Don't listen to the crazy, crazy old man who's JavaScript. Come on, JavaScript games. Okay. Honestly, the fact I'm making this kills me inside, because it just like, it feels. Oh, we gotta ban somebody. Bring down the mod hammer, ban hammer, whatever it's called. Do I have mod controls here? Ban. He has been banned. With TypeScript? That's kind of funny. That's honestly, that's a whole nother level of commitment that I'm not willing to do. not even like from a that yeah, no, that's okay, for complex, beautiful games. The only time where I'm like TypeScript is acceptable is like for a big project and or project with like deep collaboration, where you got to be able to be like, here is the kind of object we're passing along. I don't know. I understand why it exists, and I think in a collaboration, it's probably critical. I will concede that point, but it's also like another like layer of unnecessary. Like like you can't it's compiled. It's not like it isn't it isn't JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript is the language of the web, whether any of us like it or not. This is just a way how it is. I learned with I don't know what DOS stands for. I probably sounds familiar, but I'm also kind of slow. Oh, batch scripting. Never touched that. Oh, no worries. Oh, I was saying I didn't know what DOS. I just Googled it, and it's batch scripting. I've never done that. Oh, I cut off before that. So okay, my take on TypeScript is it has its place, but it is another layer of complexity over JavaScript. Yeah, no, DOS does look pretty old. I don't know, like is it Windows specific? Wait. I hate the commands on Linux. Just makes so much more sense. Ken's here. Hello. Yeah, no. I mean, at the end of the day, us weak humans are the weakest link in the chain. These robots only do whatever we ask them to do, and we often ask them to do stuff that doesn't make any logical sense. And when you have a long chain of humans, having some kind of structure, even if it is kind of crazy, is helpful. So no, I understand. Don't worry. I appreciate TypeScript, and I will use it. In fact, I do use it, and it might even be using it soon for one of my not personal, but like school projects. Purely because it is a collaborative project, and that's when I see its use. But with a large caveat, I would never make myself use it for like a small scale personal project. For something like that, I'm kind of like, eyeball it. That's good enough. Good enough. Anyways, I'm distracting myself. I need to figure this out. Okay, so I need to return this object. So we also want to create the DOM element for this. I already have a headache from this. The issue is there's gonna be so many like random little things in this that does. Not looking, because what do I need for an initialization point? I guess none of this stuff is like super important. I think the only thing that's maybe a little more important is the size of the sprite sheet. I think everything else could be a function or a set variable. Yeah, no, that's the way. We're getting quickly into the semantics of what is actually required of this project, and this is where I'm going to lose my mind. Because there's going to be a lot of stupid stuff in here that needs to be addressed. Moving all the crazy stuff into this thingamabobber. I also, I shouldn't append to the document because that is a bad idea too. Everything's a bad idea. There's no good ideas here. Can I append a child to something that's not already in the DOM? Or is that like a bad idea? Why do I feel like that won't work, but it could work? And why does that make me feel like I should do it that way? Because I guess I can create the structure and then just hope it passes along. So creating the div, player is going to be the name, player ID is going to be name here. It's fine. I do want to use the my crazy scale notation, but that's not really important right now. Maybe I should, actually. No. That's a worry for later, Andre. Oh, I can do it. Okay. I didn't know how it processes. I didn't know if it was a requirement that the children were already in the DOM before you start doing nesting. Good to know. I think a lot of times I kind of go by the assumption that something will work until I am forcefully reminded that it doesn't. For this. Okay, so we need some of this crazy renderings thingamabobbers. Because we can't use any of that stuff because CSS styling needs to be inside here. But correction, it can't be there because it needs to be on the sprite sheet, which is this one. I'm going to call this the art for the sake of my sanity. Art. I'm sure anybody looking at this is like, oh my god, what's wrong with this person? Why is he doing it this way? What is this weird min 10 something? What's going on? And I promise you the answer is nothing good. Nothing good. This is me. These are all the workaround solutions I found over several months of doing game jams and games in JavaScript. There's a logic to a lot of these things, and none of them are good. Also, what I'm doing right now is atrocious. I know there's probably a better way of doing this. I just don't know it at the very moment. I think me figuring that out might take longer than me just doing this. Okay, so this needs to be sprite sheet. Game asset, it's fine. Oh, this is the issue. Okay. I'm trying to think, is there any world where I don't need this? And I think the answer is no. Maybe I should like have like a special class dedicated to it. But also, if you're making a pixel game, any image you're entering into it, unless it's something that's super specific, is going to benefit from that. Unless it's like some kind of intermediary image or like a high fidelity image somewhere. And even that won't be hurt by it, except for maybe some like weird edges. Class is the way. I'm trying to convince myself not to do that. You're right, though. You're right. Still don't want to do it. I'm also tired. Probably create like a pixel art class and just define the class or whatever. So that needs to be in the image. Wait, is this all wrong then? No, only half of it is wrong. I'm guessing this probably goes up here then. This needs to be deleted. Okay. And then that's not what I want to use right now. That needs to go here. And then this is going to be, width is going to be cols times 100 plus the percentage. And height is going to be rows times 100 plus percentage. Yeah, no, you're technically right. I will say a lot of my stream is me. Maybe not argue. I don't think it's an argument. I think it's more I prioritize practicality, but I guess we could also call it laziness. Also, mini functions. My mindset on that is I don't create a mini function unless what I'm working on at the moment is so long to where I don't. Even then, I don't create a mini function. I only create a mini function if I use the exact same block of code or like a slight abstraction of it 5 times or more, then I will create a function to handle that. That, or you have like something that's super specific that really just you need to have it to make any sense of it. But like for stuff like this, I generally don't, because a lot of this is just setting parameters. I mean, I could create like a set image sprite sheet parameters. Well, I will say it's not like I don't. Okay. To protect my not honor, but the perception of the stream. My real code doesn't look like this. Like the ones I do for like my job and for like my school looks a lot cleaner than this. No kudos. Okay, we neither praise nor degrade my way of doing it. Because I also don't think that this is the right way of doing it. I don't think there is a right way of doing it. At the end of the day, it's all just we're all just telling the computer to do something. If it works, it works. And literally you could write something in the stupidest way, something that I look at, I'm like, man, that's crazy. And but if it works, if it runs, if you put it into the computer and the computer gives what we want, who am I to say that it is done incorrectly? So I don't think I deserve kudos for doing it this way, but also I don't think anyone deserves. I think in the community, there's definitely like stuff like we can benchmark and be like, oh, we get performance benefits from this way of doing stuff, or this is a much more practical way of coding, or a quicker way, or fewer lines, or stuff like that. But I feel like at some point there is a practical discussion, and then there's like gatekeeping, and I don't know. I feel like my stream is like I am the epitome of I I broke down the gate, and I'm just like I jump over the line between good coder and stupid coder a lot. Um, I should just do this like this. What am I studying? So I'm getting my master's in AI at Kent State University. My undergrad, I was double major, computer science and mathematics. And my job, I am a contractor at a startup. I'm technically dual titled. I'm a software engineer, and I am full stack and AI, and I'm a social media manager. Also, I run my own business, and I stream. So this is kind of quadruple booked actually. That's a whole nother issue, and that's also purely on me. Yeah, no, I will say I don't know what your familiarity with AI is, so I don't make any assumptions, but a lot of people that I've talked to, who I've mentioned that to, don't know what it means or what AI means, like from a research perspective. It's a lot different than like what is colloquially known as AI. And what I'm doing right now, my job is both colloquial. I don't know. It's kind of jumping, crossing that line a little bit too. So again, I don't know your familiarity or your work in AI or anything, but I feel like a lot of people nowadays, when I say AI, they think ChatGPT, LLMs. Just kind of intrigued. Okay, man, I'm getting sidetracked a lot today, but I'm also tired, and I don't think I'll have the energy to make a social media piece today. So I feel like what I'm doing right now is probably all I'm going to be doing. But you perhaps not. Yeah. Okay. So from a perspective of like a layperson, I think that AI and what is like what people when people say AI in a general sense nowadays doesn't really mean anything. I think it's funny because I feel like a lot of AI researchers, how we kind of look at it is what the public calls AI is whatever the newest technology is. It's like a pointer towards the cutting edge stuff. It doesn't really have any inherent meaning to the public. Oh, I can wait. Like right here. Is the ad over? I think the ad is over. Maybe. I'll give it a second. Is the ad over? Can you guys hear me? I don't know how the ad situation is right now. Okay, so a lot of people. Okay, so I'm gonna roll back just a little bit. So the general layperson, when they hear AI, they think about ChatGPT, LLMs, etc. And usually, it's kind of a joke that for the general public and for publication, everything else, like AI is just a pointer to the newest and hottest technology. That's really all that AI is to the general public. It doesn't have like a great definition. Um, Traditionally, there have been definitions of what is considered intelligence, and that goalpost has been moved a lot, and it's really varied because like in the past it was like the AIs had to have like context, and basically they had to be able to solve problems that you know with no human intervention or without knowing the ops. Like, there was a lot of weird definitions. I took a class on it, for instance. So there is a classical definition of AI, but what people like what that kind of AI stuff is generally more applicable to like stuff like machine learning and neural nets and everything else. Like that's like more like research grade AI, where it's about building a model. And like the way how I envision AI from like a research perspective is you're essentially trying to you're using computers to do tasks that were normally done by humans via code. And a lot and nowadays, honestly, I feel like that definition is even further, like stuff like humans can't do, and like how like show a form of like intelligence. But again, I feel like the definition is so weak now that like anything counts because uh, diarization or speech transcription, that's AI technically, while LLMs are AI. It's just it's such an umbrella term. I don't even like the words AI anymore. I don't because I use AI simply because it's you use it for like technologies that have come from the discussion of AI, like neural nets and stuff. That's kind of synonymous with AI, but like I don't know because I feel like nowadays there's also like generative AI, like image generation and so on, that is like using the reverse of traditional AI, like basically using UNets and convolutional nets and transformers and stuff. I don't even know anymore, actually. How do I even define AI anymore? I feel like the course that I took a while ago. Again, the only thing I do know is that what the public calls AI or what the limited definition of AI for the public, that's not what AI is. I'm also too tired to explain this properly. Let me collect my thoughts because I'm actually doing a very poor job of this right now. Public views it as LLM, generative AI, and so on. It's this very, very narrow thing. In truth, AI encompasses stuff like anything that involves taking data and processing it in a human-like way to give human useful knowledge, or just like further abstractions that are useful in a way. I think that's the best way of describing it. And I feel like nowadays, when I say I do AI work, people think that I'm just plugging something into ChatGPT or using an LLM or something like that, and that's solving a problem with it. When in reality, 9 times out of 10 in the research field, I'm like building a neural net model and training that on like large amounts of data, and then tweaking the model until it does what I want it to do and give me good data. So, like for instance, a small project I did was like detecting cancer zones in images in like brain scans. So I don't know. I'm actually gonna Google it right now because I'm curious what the modern definition has changed to. I'd love to like look back at the courses I took and be like, because a lot of this is really new. The goalposts moved so much in the last like 5 years. So the true definition is technology that allows humans to perform tasks that require human intelligence. Yeah, that's pretty close to the traditional definition. We had to define it more precisely, but yeah, no, they moved the goalpost to cognition now. What I build models with, so I did a lot of work with recently, been using TensorFlow. That's what I've been doing recently. I did a lot of work with the other one. What's its name now? I haven't touched it in like 3 months. Okay, but I do work in TensorFlow, so it's just it's a platform where you can build AIs and you kind of build them off the ground up for building neural nets. Why is the name escaping right now? It's not TensorFlow. I literally just used it like 3 months ago. What's the other one? Why am I forgetting the name? Oh my god, my brain is really not working right now. What is the other one? Okay, now this bothers me. I'm actually, right now, my brain's not working at all. No, TensorFlow is what I've been using. No, I'm using PyTorch right now. I'm using PyTorch right now, and I did a lot of work in TensorFlow. Tokenization, that's more, if I'm understanding what you mean by tokens, that's more like a transformer thing. It's vectors. Everything is vectors. Specifically, they're called tensors in like TensorFlow and PyTorch because it's the same idea as a vector. It's just the way it's mathematically modeled. GPUs and stuff can do the processing on it, the matrix multiplication, everything a lot easier. But yeah, it's essentially vectors. You can think about mathematically as vectors in a higher dimensional space. And tokens. So with transformers, it's a little bit different. So you're still kind of working with vectors of a sort. It's more so that you're using context. So you're building. Oh my god, I literally had to write a paper on this. It's more the correlation across multiple stuff. You have an attention, and through the attention, you kind of figure out the context and how different stuff relate to each other, and that creates these like tokens, which then get passed through usually some kind of convolution or some not convolution, but like a neural net or something. And I don't think tokens are the same thing as vectors. That's no, like I think that's different. And I'm not even sure if tokens is the right terminology because it does. I'm okay. I will say, it's true of anything. I am really bad at remembering terminology. You'll learn that very quickly about me, but no, I'm right. Okay, so it is. It's tokenization. Yeah. So no, tokenization is different. It's not vectors. It's a way to store the contextful data that was given by an attention that you can then pass through a more traditional neural net. Or there's different ways of approaching it. I know there's like some other, especially with like when you're using like the like more like a UNet style transformer thing. Well, I mean, the issue with working also the issue of being awake this late is I can't verbalize stuff in my brain. Okay. Very, very top-down view of what transformers are and what neural nets are. So neural nets use something called perceptrons that essentially are just layers of individual neurons you can think about, like kind of like in your brain, that essentially take elements or take previous perceptron outputs and determine if it itself fires, and then it just kind of propagates that effect down until you get to a base vector, which you then can extract information from. And we train it by back propagating the information and updating weights on each perceptron. And the input and the outputs are both considered vectors. Transformers, on the other hand, how that works is we take the input data stream. I'm most familiar with like stuff like sentences and so on. And what happens is, so from my understanding, you first tokenize it, and you basically pass those tokens. Also, for the record, I could be messing this up in my head really badly. There's a high possibility that okay, I'm very confident neural nets. Those are simple. Transformers conceptually more difficult for me, but I know that there's an attention where essentially you take the relations, kind of like goes down the line and takes all the different relations between various tokens, and then you get this data from it. Okay, I need to read this because I'm going to explain this badly, or I'm going to explain this wrong actually, and then I'm going to read it later and I'm going to hate myself and I'll be like, man, I explained that horribly. Let's look at this again. Is it tokenization done before or after? No, it's embeddings. Okay, so it's the embeddings from the attention, the self-attention, feed forward, multi-head cross attention. Yeah, that's a specific type of transformer. Okay, so, okay. It's not tokens, it's embeddings. And the embeddings are positionally encoded, and that's passed through the attention. Yeah. Transformers are just a more complex AI model it takes the benefit of like context. Because think about neural nets, what they often struggle with is context, because when you have a bunch of stuff in the vector, information gets lost as to like how stuff. Yeah, so the transformer gets the context. So Lennox is right. Yeah, no, I'm struggling here because I literally took this course last semester, and it's 1 a.m. and I can't remember how the transformer layers work. Like I know how it works. It's so easy to get this stuff wrong because there's so many different random concepts for self-attention and everything else. I know I messed up on the final on this exact topic. I had a long talk with the teacher where he was like, "Your drawing of transformers and the logic is wrong." And I remember that, and now here I am trying to explain it, and now it's like, wow, I don't know this well enough to explain it. Yeah, no, because what I actually, the most recent stuff I did was with convolutional neural networks, and I did something recently with speech transcription or speech. There's this really interesting way to do speech transcription, and I implemented that, and that was really fun. And that was my final project, and now I'm working on speech diarization for my current job. A lot of audio processing. We don't. I haven't really been using transformers. I mean, I've been using pre-built models like Whisper and so on. I think that might be a transformer. I think chances are that's a transformer. Is Whisper a transform model? Yeah, it's an encoder-decoder based model. Yeah. So I mean, I've been using that, but you don't have to implement that when you're doing that. I mean, honestly, with TensorFlow and everything else, you barely implement anything anymore. You just use all the pre-built stuff and just tweak the add in the heading and then put in a convolutional neural net or something and let it run. I don't know. My brain is too tired right now to even think, much less teach. I'm scared because we got someone new in chat, Lennox AI, and they have AI in their name. And it scares me because they probably know a lot more than I do. And they're going to be like, "You're wrong! Nothing you said makes sense! Get out of here, poser!" And I'll be like, "Yep, you're right. I'm going to get my master's in it, but I can't explain it to save my life." We're all learning, yeah. I mean, there's just too much going on. It's also like I'm just really bad at explaining things. I'm really bad at terminology and stuff. I can make excuses all night long, but at the end of the day, I can use it and I can make models. Honestly, I want to start doing that more for stream, but also I don't know. I don't even know what kind of stuff I want to do for stream. Game development is fun. Let's make sure of that. Did I tell you guys? Actually, I don't think anybody. Well, my usual viewers aren't here right now, but I'm not sure how many people I've told about this. But I went viral partially because of AI, and it's been very heavily requested. And I've been debating how am I going to position myself as a teacher in that space. No, funny story. Funny story. Actually, no. Now that I think about it, I think I did talk to my usual viewers this way about this. But the funny story is, have you guys heard of Red Note? I need to know how far back I need to roll back to explain this. Do you guys has anybody here used Red Note? No. So Red Note, the app, the application, social media. Yes, Chinese TikTok. So I back when TikTok initially was getting banned. Let me see if I can find. I left. It sucked. Lame. Well, I I'm not here to talk about how good different apps are. But what I will say is, when I did leave, um, TikTok for Red Note, one night I made a post, basically just explaining that I was a student at who's studying AI, or like math. I'm getting a master's in AI. I showed some of my projects. I back then I was doing some robot pathing, some like I was doing some work with Voronoi diagrams and stuff. That was in JavaScript. It was a really weird AI thing. It was very bizarre. But I can talk those kind of stuff, like stuff that I've done in depth, I can talk about. Wait. Oh yeah, no, AutoMod blocked it. I think I'm gonna keep it locked though. It's fine. I'm gonna just deny that one. It's fine. Um, but what I did was, so I showed some of the stuff I was working on, some of the projects and everything else. I posted it at like midnight, and I went viral. Had to going on my Automods. Um, so I went viral overnight. Like my account. Oh, I'm Andre. So this is the video that went viral. I'll show it to you guys. You can see like I'm right there, and it has 46,000 likes. My account itself has like 25,000 followers. Yeah, there we go. And the thing is, all the comments were asking me to make AI tutorials. A lot of them. Hello, I'm Andre Roman. I'm going to pull up some of the comments about it. Like, a significant amount of the comments were like asking for just AI help. And I wanted to do that, but it's just like, where do you even like, it's such a weird, again, like I was mentioning earlier, nowadays when people say they're using AI for their stuff, what they're doing is they're just putting stuff into an LLM or like an existing model, getting an output, processing the output, etc. And that, I mean, I'm also doing a little bit of that for my job, so I think it's fine. I don't really consider that like AI. I consider that, you know, using, I mean, it's the same thing as using an API. I don't know. I'm just like, maybe I'm a traditionalist a little bit about it, but it's just, I also don't like people using AI for stuff that doesn't need AI. I don't know. I could talk about this all night long. I have very strong opinions about it. I probably should get back to what I was initially working on, though. Man, I went off topic. I'm right, yeah. No, I'm just like I'm very frustrated. I think there's a lot of good uses of AI. I think there's a lot of like there's ethical uses of AI as well, and a lot of really fun stuff. But it's so oversaturated, and people think it's better than it is, and it's very. What is Riffle Square Cut? That's my personal. So I'm also a game developer, like not a video game. I'm a physical game developer, and I made. Let's have a box. Oh, I have an open box somewhere. I made a card game called called Hidden Marks. It's a game about assassins trying to kill each other. And I've been working on this for like 6 years now. And you guys can tell me if you guys want to hear about a card game I made. Let me show you some of the cards. I'm very proud of my artwork. It's one of my. I've been working on this game for many years, and the artwork this time around is my best work yet. This box, oh, let me see, what edition is this? Oh, this is like bad. Do I have a? No, this is. Which one is this? that's another one. Where's... Do I not have a... If you can't tell, I'm also very disorganized. Yeah, I know. Board, yeah, it's a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting field. It's extremely different from digital space. A lot more goes into it than. Okay, here's a. Let me see. Okay, this is like a alpha edition. The way I can tell if it's an alpha edition. So, fun fact about hidden marks. If you look at a box of edition, this is edition 5, and if you look at a box of edition 5s, and you see at the very top of it, if you see that the gun like this, maybe on autofocus. There we go. You see that the gun's handle right here is cut. That's an alpha edition of my game. Honestly, you guys don't even need to know that, but that's when you see me like going around being like, oh, that's a pre-alpha, that's a pre-developed edition, or that's a this is old. I'm looking for like little artifacts that tell me what versions they are. But I think from what this is fine. So for instance, here's some of the artwork. This game. Come on. Focus. Give me a second. That's actually one of 3 different designs I created for this game. Anyway, there's some more. Also the backs of the marks. It's one of my favorite ones, actually. But yeah, no, not even possible. Literally, you can ask AI to try to do this, but this is very high definition vector art. This is actually completely done by me. It's just too detailed. Like, you could try to ask an AI to do something close to this, but it's I don't really believe in using generative AI in the first place, so but there's just too much going on. There's like a level of detail. Like also like there's a lot of thought. Okay, so the thing is, again, it comes with the time like that I spent with this, but this game I spent a lot of time actually figuring out how to make stuff work. Like for instance, I don't want to spend too long boring your ears out about various like minor details about design. But here's some really fun little things about the design that were really important to me. So there's different valuations for different colors of the cards. So the red cards are worth 3, the blue cards are worth 2, the white cards are worth 1. One consideration was actually because we wanted the colors to be important for like knowing different valuations, we wanted to be colorblind friendly. So accessibility and stuff, it's always been a concern of ours. But also, we wanted it so that when you look at it, so you see the little pips in the center, that's the valuation of the card. But I also wanted to have these like major segments that also tell you like there's 2 things. So we kind of squint. I'll like make it blurry for a second. You kind of squint, you can see there's like 2 major elements in the card design. So because all the red cards are super lethal, I wanted it to be like a card about weaponry. And it's worth 3, so I needed 3 things to be about weaponry. So what 3 things could there be? I decided to make it 3 different classes of weapons. So look at the card. I have on the left, I have the sniper for like guns. a rocket launcher for explosives, and a sword for analog weapons like knives. And if you look closely, you'll notice on the far left, we have more guns, which then kind of gradients into explosives like mortars and grenades and stuff, which then gradients into stuff like bows and machetes and shurikens. So you kind of get this gradient of various elements. Another minor detail about it was I don't like marketing. I don't like stuff where you just kind of slap your name on something really big and that's the product. I wanted to make it so that the name was where I placed it was purposeful. So if you look carefully, you'll notice that the name of the game is actually kind of hidden on the side of the deck right here. It wasn't inspired by Mr. Doodle, but it definitely is in the same vein. So name hidden marks is on the side. Cards are spread out. You actually see the name of the game on the sides of the cards. That's of art style. Then the blue cards are poisons because they're less lethal, more defensive. Poisons fit the bill. And on the two elements, I wanted to instead go for like how are poisons processed. So I have essentially the ingredients, which then you can kind of see the bucket with the nightshade. Then in the center, I have like flasks and test tubes and stuff. I went for like I guess it's still game development. I think I'm still in the realm of stuff. I have like flasks. Oh, come on. Focus. This camera does not like me right now. Man, it does not want to focus. Come on. I'm going to give up in a second if it doesn't focus. Anyways, in the center, there's like flasks and test tubes for like how you create the poisons. And then you have a distillation tower for the second element. And on the right, you have applications like the James Bond umbrella, the wine glass, the anthrax envelope, a lot of pop culture references. And then the white card is all defensive cards, but also identity cards. So we have a bunch of stuff like the like tools of like how do you like build your defenses and medicines and so on, but also masks, like the paper bag and the clown mask and an anonymous mask and so on. And for the central element, because it's worth 1, what does every assassin need? Like what can't he leave home without? And that's his suit. And then the front of the decks are actually very like simplified. It's very minimalistic and utilitarian. And really the idea behind that, it was very UI inspired. Basically, there's a hierarchy of information, and it's reflective for like accessibility as well. So whenever you pick up a hand, you can just immediately play the game. And that's also why there's the glyphs in the left-hand corner, again, for like ease of use. Very, very UI inspired. Anywho, but yeah, no, that's... And then you have like a lot of other like minor details. Stuff that like I am obsessed about. Like for instance, the box design. So you have like the same kind of element, but one really cool detail about it is that the design actually wraps around. Right now, this one's a worn box, but it wraps around every corner, including the cut edges. So no, these are actually okay. These are for sale. This is actually a full product. We just came back from a convention. Actually, I've been back from a lot of conventions. I have This is my convention hall. It's all my convention badges for all the conventions I've been to over the years. No, we're actually again, Riffle Square is a full-fledged company. I'm really bad at social media. I'm still learning it. My one viral moment on Red Note is kind of a fluke as of right now. I'm hoping it's going to change. But the game itself is on. Again, this is turning into an ad. Welcome to the ad of Riffle Square Cut or whatever. But our sponsored segment. But no, Hidden Marks is available on Amazon. It's available on our website on rifflesquarecut.com. And also, if you don't want to website, and it's cross-linked with our itch.io, which has high definition printable files for free that you can just cut out and play. So yeah, that's Hidden Marks, and there's a lot to. I could talk about it for quite literally hours in terms of like the history and the design methodology and the gameplay itself. There's a lot to talk about in terms of the depth of the gameplay. I will say talking about the gameplay is difficult because it's a lot easier when you play the game for the first time. A lot of stuff that I can say about the gameplay won't make sense until you kind of play your first couple rounds, play the first hand, and you'll be like, oh, I know every single card in the game now. But no, there's like, in this little corner where I was like rushing around earlier, I have like historical versions of this game. Like way back when we had a box I loved. I mean, I love this box, but let me show you what my favorite box was. This is my favorite box that we ever produced. This is edition. Mix up the edition ahead. These are edition 3s. This is the edition 3 box. And it's like a magnetically closing gold foil box that's made of thick material. And the box itself, magnetically closing. And the rules were listed on the inside of the box. And just like a nice little like area where you can kind of pull the cards out. And just close the box. It's magnetically closing. It's sturdy and everything. This thing, like the four strangers walk into a bar. This is my favorite box. It's been years since this has been in circulation. But this thing, I want to bring it back, but there's some complications. But there is a plan to bring it back. There is something in the works. And I'd love to talk about it more, but I will say here's kind of like a prototype from a while ago that I printed out like 2 or 3 years ago of the idea, the concept. And I like this one more because it's, first of all, it's seamless, so you don't have that crazy edge on the side. So it's actually like more like a proper box. Double the magnets, double the click. Also, the old magnets used to fall out the back, so I created this kind of sandwich design to kind of keep the magnets between the material. Also, because of this new design, it folds out to have way more space, so maybe we can still put a rule book inside here. And on top of all of that, we also have this nice little curve instead of the harsh angles, kind of like, it just looks better. And we also have this nice little space right here for like more design elements. So this is in the works, and it's so satisfying when like we have any kind of close it up. Just, I miss the old box. I miss it with a passion. It also was a pain because I had a hand. Back then, I had to take the decks and then put them in the box and then put the plastic wrap and close the plastic wrap, take the sticker and put the sticker on the plastic wrap. It's kind of a hassle. Nowadays, I just get the boxes prepackaged and it saves me hours. So if I go back to that, there's going to be some stuff I have to do, but it's going to be worth it. Anywho, that is a lot about my business, my Riffles, not personal, that's my entrepreneurial side. That's Riffle Square Cut. That's kind of where any project that's in the physical realm that gets completed gets punted over to Riffle Square Cut. Anything that's crazy, incomplete, and weird, and usually in the video game space, that's me. That's Urbandre. That's this channel. And everything that is school-wise stays in the school air, just school stuff. And then I have my, commercial, more like, my job, my day-to-day. But that's my 4 sides. Then obviously I have like when I leave the screen or leave this realm and I escape into the real world, and I'm, just personal side. But yeah, that's about me. Andre the kind of crazy game developer who is so tired at 2 a.m. that he's spewing nonsense and being ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, I've also been rambling for so long. Is there anything you have any questions? I mean, I believe many of you are actually new here. Any questions about me, about the channel? I'm probably going to be calling it quits for the night soon because I am starting to lose my marbles. How tired I am. Also, speaking of Dribble, don't you require an Adobe Illustrator or like an Adobe account nowadays? I thought there was like that new thing. I think I have the soul of a designer. A good one. I think I think I have a very severe case of ADHD and perfectionism, possibly OCD. But I do I'm thankful for the sentiment, but I do think it might be more clinical on my side. I will accept. Thank you. I'm also horrible at accepting compliments, especially past midnight. Well, okay, okay. So this does go into the a lot of these words in common lexicon are overused become umbrella terms. Like same problem with the AI I was talking about earlier. I can see why people are like ADHD is such a broad umbrella term that so much falls under ADHD that it ceases to be a good word. It's like when something is so common. Well, I will say, even if you're just joking, it isn't an uncommon sentiment. And I think it's just purely just how the public takes useful terminology, applies it to everything that vaguely fits what their perception of what it should be is. It loses its meaning. The experts and start sitting in the corner being like, oh my god, no one knows what this actually means anymore. And everyone else is just going on point. It's just like the same thing with AI, same thing with ADHD and like a lot of other stuff. It's like the specialists, like the doctors and stuff, they have a definition for it that's pretty concise, but it's become such like a common thing that's like yeah, the public perception has changed. I got diagnosed with it when I was young. Yeah, I don't. I will say I don't like. I don't mention it in terms of like taking cover behind it or anything. It's more so that like as you can probably tell, I get some benefits from it and I get some detriments from it. One of which is focus, which you might be able to tell based on just how rambly. I'm pretty sure the way our mind manifests is in my inability to hold a single train of thought. Like my brain will start on a thought and then veer off into the forest, come back, and then veer off and up. Like trying to finish a single train of thought is like ridiculously complicated, which makes me a horrible storyteller, but it makes me a great rambler. And I think that's actually one of the challenges for me right now with social media and streaming and stuff is I need to get better. I need to be able to tell stories. Storytelling is critical. I suck at it. I am so bad. It is. I'm ridiculously bad at it. So I that is something I need to really figure out. But yeah, I'm probably going to least software engineering is a very good solution to focus. I mean, yeah, no, it's definitely a focus. I think, yeah, it's complicated. It's more so that I feel like I think I like software engineering because of how logical it is. There are so many like there's a very very strict rule focused environment. That's where I thrive. I think in environments that are like more loosey goosey with rules, that's where I don't feel as constrained. So that's kind of like be stupid. So so you studied arts, jumped to the game dev, and then animation, now software development. I mean that is a pipeline, and that's definitely a fun pipeline. Are you also, if you don't mind me asking, are you also a streamer or are you like or do you have like an itch? Are you a developer or okay, so you're not a streamer. I mean, you can do no camera streams. Ken, who are you still in chat, Ken? I think she's still in chat. But like Ken, Ken has a VTuber that she got. Yeah, there's Ken. Ken is streaming with a VTuber and is doing no camera. So there are options like that. Also, shout out to Ken. Ken is much more entertaining than I am. Also, I just realized I if Lennox AI is still here, um, I did not notice you followed me earlier. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the follow. I don't have my headset on, so I can't hear notifications, and I just excuse me. I just saw that. We're trying to finish something. I'm gonna take a look what we're trying to finish. I gotta get new glasses because I'm not sure if you guys can tell. Oh, so you're kind of working on some kind of sculpting. It looks like you're sculpting kind of like a seal. That's kind of cool. A moving seal. You want to make 25 pieces? 25 like individual like components to it, or like 25 total pieces? Oh, also, what I was saying earlier is I have glasses, but they had a protective coating on them, and that protective coating over time, I'm not sure if you can really tell, but the coating got worn down. Yeah, I don't think you can tell on the camera, but like there's like literally like if you look at it closely, there's like holes in the coating. No matter when I look at the screen, especially late at night, there's like weird like ghosts and diffractions and stuff. I can't see nothing. It's ridiculous. 25 total. I mean, that's not an impossible challenge. Are you looking to like well, why 25? Is it part of like a larger piece or posted an inspiration? I'm guessing it's kind of like a mood board or something. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I've seen those before. I've seen like yeah. No, that's fun. Daughter's birthday is on the 28th, so I got a deadline. Oh, so it's okay. Well, you have 10 days. You can do it. I mean, it's not an unreasonable deadline, just depending on what your availability is. Anywho, it's a birthday gift. Oh, so like, oh, it's gonna be like a. Okay, so there's also a quality element to it as well. I'm sure that as long, even if it isn't fully complete or if it's, in a decent enough stage, I'm sure that they'll appreciate it. But yeah. Anyways, I'm like having trouble keeping my eyes open, and I have a early morning meeting tomorrow, and I gotta get stuff deployed tomorrow. Man, I was really hoping that tonight I was gonna be sitting down. Oh, by the way, I'm not saying this. This is purely on me, but my goal tonight was like I'm gonna go sit down. I'm gonna stream for like an hour and a half. I'm gonna get TikToks done. I'm gonna get like a post done or two. I was like, maybe I'll get two posts done. I'll have one for tonight and one for tomorrow. And here I am sitting, and I just had spent about an hour just talking about stuff that was absolutely non-critical. I mean, I love talking, but I was so unproductive tonight. It's almost sad. Tomorrow I will definitely have to catch up. But no, it was a fun stream. It was great meeting you. Sorry, I forgot how you pronounce. You did mention the pronunciation earlier. Man, the automata is getting you left and right. Shikome? But no, it was great meeting you. I hope to see you again. And if I don't, it was great talking to you in a short time on this stream. I'm going to stream tomorrow. Probably. Every time I set a time, it never works out, but I'm going to try to shoot for like 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to midnight, because every single time that every single time I try to set a time, it's like, oh, something comes up, and then I move an hour, and then move 2 hours, and then yeah. Next time you will stream, okay? And you're gonna make a game engine. You're gonna race me. First person to finish a game engine is gonna win. I mean, I don't mind. The more the merrier. Honestly, I don't even know what there's so many like different kinds of content. Part of me just feels like maybe I should just like stream me following a tutorial. Like maybe that is like peak. I think it's a step above reaction content and a step below self actualization. I feel like like you're still like using someone else's like stuff, but you're actually building something yourself and giving your own take on it. Maybe I should just like follow. Maybe I need to learn because I feel like I'm getting too used to doing stuff the wrong way, and I really should just be learning from the best. Small. Yeah. Anywho, I could ramble on for much longer, but I need to get sleep. Otherwise, I feel like I'm gonna collapse tomorrow. But it was great seeing everybody tonight. A lot of new people. Really awesome. And I will hopefully see you guys again tomorrow at 9. Again, no promises. Bye bye. I'm not going to raid you guys off. I'm still figuring that out.